Welcome back to the Mr. Manhood podcast. In this episode, we'll be discussing how your expectations are what's hurting your feelings. Most of us feel that certain people are what's hurting my feelings, or if I have a good friend and that friend isn't a friend the way I would want them to be a friend to me, that they're hurting my feelings. And you'll quickly learn that it isn't the individual who hurt your feelings, it's the expectations you had of that individual that hurt your feelings, or that was a letdown for you. I've very recently, not just a few years ago, I've had to face this same reality. And this is where I actually learned this lesson in my life that not that you shouldn't have certain expectations of people. There are some people that you say you lived closely with growing up. You guys are good friends, best friends, and so there will come certain expectations in that. But I definitely had to learn that if you weren't necessarily a part of that person's upbringing, or if you don't fully understand their past and where they came from, well, then you having certain expectations is a recipe for disaster. It's having expectations of a person that you don't understand is a recipe for disaster. It's never going to work out. And so that's why so many older people say that it's good to date first. It's good to get to know this person. Not necessarily, I mean, shacking up is okay in my eyes, and some people's eyes, they don't feel like that's okay. But taking the actual time to not necessarily call this your girlfriend or call this your boyfriend or call this your life partner, not so quickly. We find that we like someone initially because they're your person, and then we start calling them girlfriend, boyfriend, or life partner, and it can become very detrimental the first time you guys have a problem where you had an expectation of what you thought they should be doing simply because of who they are or the title that you've given them. And when they don't live up to that, well, then your feelings are hurt, and it's very easy to run away because your feelings are hurt. And that's how we've learned to deal with being hurt, as we flee. That's what we see on TV. Conflict resolution is becoming a lost art. We're actually talking things out, having that difficult conversation, or even trying to have that difficult conversation to understand why someone does what they does do. In certain situations, you always have to understand that people will be who they are, and the average person it is a sum of the things that's happened to them. Meaning, there are very few things that people just do simply because they felt like it, or they just, it's not happenstance. People do things because of past experiences of things that's happened to them, and there's a reason for it. So it takes a very wise and thinking person to understand that when you do have expectations of a person you just met a few months ago, you're setting yourself up for the kill, and it's gonna hurt, because as crazy as this may sound to some people, love hurts, and love isn't always beautiful. It's one of those things where love takes many different forms, and it can take the form of someone being mean to you, someone being firm with you, someone being soft with you, loving with you. Love takes many different forms, but in the end, running away from it is only going to reset you doing this again with another person. It's not going to go away. You're always going to run into conflict because people are a sum of things that's happened to them. So taking the time to understand that individual and where they come from, why they do what they do, that takes more time than actually having an expectation of a stranger. And then when things don't necessarily work out, you revert back to, oh, well, I'll just be back single again. So please understand the expectations that we have of people are what's hurting our feelings, not the actual person. It's hardly ever the actual person that hurts your feelings. It's I was expecting you to be this way. I thought you should have done this for me because I felt like you were my woman. But what you learn about, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, was typically what you saw in your household or what you saw growing up. And that became your template. And everyone has a different template because we all come from different places with different backgrounds. So it takes, it's a very difficult thing to do and a very difficult thing to go through with an individual. But taking time to learn that person is what's going to definitely cement your future with that person, because now this becomes your person truly because you've taken the time to understand why they do what they do. And everyone, as I learned before, everyone is full of some kind of shit, and you just have to figure out what kind of shit you're willing to deal with. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I should be uploading another one here soon. Thank you. Bye.